I'd like to just start out by just announcing a few staff members. Zac Alley as a defensive coordinator, linebackers, and along staying on the defensive side of the ball as a defensive analyst, Henry Weinreich. Jack Lowry, senior offensive assistant, Kevin Johns, an offensive analyst, Nick Bascoin moved into a analyst role, Tyler Hatcher as our offensive GA, Ben Tallwater as an offensive GA, Doug Deacon as our special teams coordinator, and Jolie Ale as a recruiting director of recruiting strategy and external engagement as well. And other great news for us is Justin Harrington won his appeal. Got news back on that here this morning, so really excited for Justin. So really excited about this group of guys that we've been around for the last almost 8 weeks here through our mat drills, winter conditioning, the weight room, the film room, a little bit of walkthrough. It's been a really competitive group of guys. It's probably the word that we've used the most in our staff room, and with what our eyes tell us, a very driven and focused group of guys. Obviously, with our returning players, along with 35 newcomers, both high school and transfer, it's been a lot of fun to watch these guys come together, develop their chemistry, their relationships, their trust, their understanding of all of our processes, and again, how we do what we do, which is a critical part of this time of the year, along with developing, again, trust and respect and getting to know one another. But so far, just from the 10,000 foot lens, that's what I've seen from this group of guys as a whole. And I really like where, again, our leadership has been up to this point in time. So we'll see if the investment and the commitment is there as they develop their team, Team 130. And I think that'll ultimately be the test of what we're going to be, is what our commitment is. It's just 8 weeks, and we got a long ways to go. Between now and the beginning of the season, and but I really like where we're at in a lot of places right now. Anxious and excited to watch our guys get out on the field, our coaches and players together, and start to do spring ball. And this is the time of the year, obviously, that again we reinforce all of our processes and how we practice, how we compete, how we play. Running on and off the field, all the little things. Doing the little things right, and but it's also an opportunity for us to look at, as we evolve in all 3 phases of the game and the things that we're going to do, we want to tinker with, and have an opportunity to try some new things. But most importantly, again, just establishing, our standards of expectations and how we practice, how we compete, how we play the game, how we meet, all those types of things. So with that, I'll open it up.
Start in the aisle, Eric Bailey.
Brent, I want to ask you about Zac Alley and just the process of getting him on campus, his knowledge of what you do defensively, and how has the early months been with him in the offices?
Yeah, it's been good. Zach's somebody I got a very small, circle in the coaching profession that I stay in touch with regularly. So I've obviously have done that the last several years, and just out of nowhere, I changed course of the conversation and just felt that this was the right time for us, and continue to grow and as a defense and as a program, get a guy with some fresh ideas, and again a new voice, new face as we move into the SEC. I thought this was the right time to do that, and again a guy that's going to show up with his hair on fire, a lot of energy, really bright guy, works well with people, no ego whatsoever. He figures things out. He's a great teammate, and he's as tough as all get out. Really understands offense and understands defense, and understands how to take advantage of the players that you have on your roster and build things, around that group of guys. So he's been great, along with the rest of our defensive coaches, developing an understanding for all of it. How you work cohesively in a staff room, and deciding on foundationally the things that you want to install, during the course of the spring and what that schedule looks like. But if we're going to be successful, it's going to be because of the collaboration. He'll be the first one to tell you that. And it's going to take all of us to continue to make improvement where we need to make improvement, defensively. So I'm really excited about having Zac, on the team.
Do you see a lot of you in him as a young coach when you started at that level?
I think I'm comfortable with where his football, acumen is and how he thinks in relation to how I think. And again, I know how he grinds. I know how he thinks. We know each other very well. We are, again, we had great compatibility before Zac got here, and we'll continue to have that moving forward. But there's a lot that we understand about each other, and there's some things that he's evolved with, and things that certainly we have, even since our time together, just whatever that was 4 or 5 years ago. And but he understands again what the expectations and the standards are, and he's relentlessly been working to get the players in position to feel confident and comfortable. And so we've tweaked a few things, from a language standpoint, all the things you would expect, subtle changes. And he's just one guy, so he's going to learn a lot, but he's going to bring a lot to the table too.
Thanks, Brent.
Ryan Eber.
Yeah, Brent, sticking with Zac, I'm going to go with something you just mentioned, the last 4 years for him. What kind of growth have you seen from him? How much, obviously you wasn't running the defense when you were with him at Clemson, but how much difference have you seen from him in what he was when you were last with him at Clemson to what he is now after those stops?
Yeah, I think in fairness, it's, you're asking me to, maybe you aren't, but it sounds like you're asking me to judge him, as a defense coordinator. When I saw him last, I sent him off to Boise, from analyst to a full-time position coach, linebackers, and special teams coordinator. He was was a national special teams coordinator of the year, his first year at Boise. And I would just think the depth of how he thinks, probably, defensively, front and the back end, how it's all tied together, the anticipation of verbiage, scheme, how the players think, how to make things systematically easy on the players so they can learn quickly, number one, and then number two, play confidently and aggressively, through the processes. And probably some tough moments along the way. At some point in time, he'll be up in front of y'all, and he'll have an opportunity to kind of, give you, intimate, moments as he's, progressed and developed and experienced the last several years. But so I don't want to speak for him that way. But that's probably the biggest thing, process-wise, and how you install day one and to get the coaches and the players on the same page. And again, the depth of things that he's done, things that he has kind of got out of the family and explored, learned. And he's a gym rat. He loves the game. He loves every part of the strategy of the game, and so he's worked hard at continuing to develop himself and getting out of that tree, if you will, and has discovered other new successful ways to play good defense.
Yeah, I guess what I was asking should have been a little bit better about that was just, is there anything that he's added to defense over the last couple of years that you're excited to see how it fits in with?
It's everything.
I
would just say it's everything. To you asked if I'm excited to see, I'm excited to see all of it. And but there's not any one thing. Like I said, situationally, he has a background. Holistic, has a background. Different schemes within your scheme. He's got a background. Some of it's the same, some of it's not. And without getting to, nobody wants to hear me talk about sub packages and all that kind of stuff. And we don't even know, to be honest. Once we start working with our players, we'll figure all that out. But there's a lot of the newness to the things that he's gonna bring, but there's certainly a lot of familiarity as well.
Carlson.
Yeah.
Brent, there's been some super talented defensive linemen who've come into this place over the years, guys like Tommy Harris and G.K. McCoy come to mind more recently, and sometimes they've gotten on the field early, sometimes not. You've got some super talented defensive linemen and guys like David Stone and Jaden Jackson. What do you expect out of them, and just why might they be more able to help you right away than maybe some other guys?
Well, I'm gonna speak and brag on the 22 high school guys that showed up. It's a really tough group of guys. The mental toughness that I watched the last 8 weeks is exemplary. Just fantastic. Nobody shied away. These guys were prepared for the challenge of what this entails, and it was never easy for any of them. But these guys were fearless. Those D linemen that you mentioned, and the rest of the group of high school guys, along with the transfers too. They looked it right dead in the eyes and attacked. And I love that. Again, ambitious, confident, tough. What they just went through, there's nothing easy about it. So that gives me reason to believe that, all right, they're big, they're strong, they're powerful, they got good quickness, they have a little bit of development to their game from a fundamental and a toolbox standpoint. And if they're willing to continue to be committed to becoming contributors, if that commitment, maintains through the course of the spring, summer, and fall camp, all that kind of thing, then they'll have a chance to be, contributors for us. And that's the expectation, that's the hope. I think that makes us better. But, they both play D-tackle. Jaden will start out at nose guard, but he can play the 3 technique, both mentally and physically. He's skilled to do that. And some things he's better at, some things David might be better at. But they've been really good, as far as young guys figuring out the pace and the tempo and the competitive stamina that you have to go through, again, the things that they did. And again, just all the mental things, again, going away from home for the first time, handling, a full schedule, and just all the meeting times and the walkthroughs, all of that, when you got to be on point. They've been fantastic, again, as a group.
Barry?
Yeah, Brent, we've actually been talking about the SEC long and worrying about it longer than you have. But when you got here, you deflected most of those questions for good reason. You had a team to coach, a season to play.
Right.
Now the SEC is here. When you looked at OU 2 years ago when you got here, what did you see that needed to be changed for going to the SEC, and what has changed to get you to where you needed to be?
I would probably say just the depth of the commitment off the field and the support staff and the structure, getting all of our processes where we wanted to get them, the depth of what that looks like. And again, we're just, regardless of the conference affiliation, my job's always been to build the most competitive, strongest, deepest, fastest, explosive, smartest group of football players I can, whether that's linebackers or it's a defense or it's a team. So that's what we've been trying to do. It hasn't been, well, let's put a really good team together for the Big 12, and then when we go to the SEC, let's go back and reevaluate and look at what kind of team that's needed there. What we want to do to meet our standards and our expectations, it really doesn't have anything to do with the conference as much as it does our roster and our processes, our support, the resources that we feel like we need to be successful. And I think we're in a good place, and the test of time will challenge all of those things. And again, this is maybe the most unforgiving league on the planet, and what we're getting ready to go into. We know that with clear vision, and but our focus has really been inside out and trying to develop a team, a mindset, a culture, high standards. Certainly the roster is a big part of it, and in a perfect world you have great stability on your roster, but that's not where we're at in college football. And so again, we we got 35, newcomers here, this year. So, but you're never going to be where you want to be. We've got tremendous amount of improvement that we got to make, and starting this spring football, a long ways to go to be, put ourselves in position to be successful this year. But I like a lot of the things that we've been able to do over the first couple of years, and but again, as I've said many times, you're never going to be satisfied. There's always going to be a way to get better or improve your roster or improve a certain aspect of your program, and we're focused on doing that.
George?
Yeah, Brent, college football's changing a lot, NIL, transfer portal. We're seeing a lot of programs go out and hire a quote-unquote general manager. I'm wondering, how have you maybe adapted to that? And is a general manager something that you guys are interested in doing, and maybe either elevating people within your staff, or how do you, I guess, approach that?
Yeah. So what do you think a general manager is?
I think it depends.
Is it like a chief of staff or
It could
director
be,
of
or it
football
could be
ops?
a player personnel guy or something like that. I'm sure it's different for every program.
Right. Well, again, I think we'd be naive if we didn't look at the change that's going on in college football, both currently and the landscape. The toothpaste is definitely out of the tube and not putting it back in. So we always looking at, again, all of our processes, our programs, our support systems on how we can continue to improve and be efficient, be really good at what we're doing, and finding, I always look at trying to hire people that are smarter than me, and to surround myself with really good, intelligent people that have either the experience where you want to go, or they have the acumen to learn and grow and get better and lead. So we're always looking at ways to get better. There's some restructuring, reorganization that we're looking at doing over the next, and we've been working on this for 16, 18 months, and where, again, a lot of it's where we feel like college football is going, and making sure that we're in a position of strength. We're not reacting when it does happen. This is going to continue to be just kind of a process, and you wish it was a little more congruent, but it's kind of a piecemeal is what's going on in college football. And so we've been working hard and diligently trying to anticipate, the things that we need to do off the field programmatically to strengthen us. And so that'll be somewhere here in the near future.
I know there's been some stuff out there about Curtis Lofton and his role. How much has he maybe helped you guys in the program, and some of that stuff that you're talking about, the change of college football?
Curtis has been doing what he has been doing in the last couple of years. He's been fantastic. Soul Mission as a whole is fantastic, and remember, Soul Mission isn't just one job. It's again holistic development, and they're leaders, they're mentors, they're recruiters, they're therapists, they're competitors. Curtis brings a lot to the table. Same things that he did as a player. Now he's using those same transferable skills as a leader in our program. So he's been fantastic.
We've got to get to a fair number of you, so you can limit yourself to one question. We'll come back for more if there's time. Let's go to Ryan Chapman.
Yeah, Brent, in-helmet comms, seems like momentum's moving in that direction, piloting a couple of bowl games. That's something you guys are planning for this spring, and how would that change like the sideline dynamics with having the actual in-helmet?
Yeah, so they give every team in college football that's doing that, they're giving them all 3 headsets to use in the spring. And so you got to figure out, your 3 guys that you want to practice with. You're still going to have to signal unless everybody decides they're going to huddle. There's no other way to get everybody the call. If in the NFL you see a lot of huddles, both sides of the ball, defense huddles because the offense is over there huddling. But that's how they do it there. But I don't. Maybe more wristbands. People have to do more wristbands if they don't want to signal. But I think it's a technology that is good for the game, and you got to be careful not trying to overcoach. Sometimes you can overcoach, and just imagine the coach having the player come over to the sideline, right, 15 seconds before the snap, and you tell them one last thing. Well, you're able to do that to one guy on both sides of the ball. And obviously most people on offense will have that with the quarterback, and then defensively finding somebody that's a little bit different, than the NFL. Some ways we're modeling it after the NFL, but our rosters are different. The pace and the huddle of the NFL is much different. And but we'll manage all that and figure it all out. And everybody will try to find ways to continue to be more efficient with your processes pre-snap. And so I think it's a good thing.
Come back to the middle games.
Brent, it was disappointing to hear about Jacob Lacey and his situation. So that's a starter at your defensive tackle spot. So what does that do for your defensive line and your depth as you get ready to go into spring? Is that the only guy you're going to not have in the spring?
Yeah, that is the only guy as far as the defensive tackles are concerned. We got good numbers there. We don't have much experience there, so DJ Terry, I think he maybe started 7 games or 4 games last year there. And then again, we've got some guys like Devon Sears that he's going to have more opportunity. Grayson Halton, certainly we've talked about a couple of the freshmen, along with Marcus Strong. Really like the things that he's been able to do. Champ Sanders is. We're excited about a lot of things that he's been able to do. At this point in time. And so we'll see where all that goes. But we got a lot of work to do everywhere. But that's a position that we got to get guys better, and we got to. Again, back in the day, you could play with like 3 guys. If you were deep, you could play with 3. And so now, again, we've got 8 or 9 guys there that we're dealing with, and we're going to it's going to be a group of guys that, again, we've got to wherever we ended the year with that group of guys, they're going to have to be a lot better than what we were. But that's the expectation. That's what our job is as a coach, and their job is as players to make a tremendous investment and then go to work, keep your head down, but I love the group of guys. I really do. It's a hungry, tough, talented group of players.
Myron?
Is there an area like that you're looking at, not even just starters, but just depth that you say, hey, we need to get a couple guys that can provide some stuff for us, other than guys, either freshmen or even transfers that you gotta?
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying, we got to do that on the offensive line. And really like the group of guys that, that we have there. Jacob Sexton, obviously he started several games. Troy Everett started several games as well. And that's a group of guys along with, Jake Taylor, Heath Ozida, Logan Howland, Josh Bates. It's a really good group of young players, along with the freshmen that we brought in, and then the transfers that we brought in. 4 freshmen and 4 transfers. They're all going to have to play a role. And so between Darren Hatcher, Spencer Brown, Fabechi, along with Michael Tarquin, and then again this group of freshmen that we brought in, we really like the group of guys. They're smart. It's an athletic group. They've got experience. Those 4 transfers all bring experience, different systems or different school. But the reason they were brought in was because of their experience and their ability both. And so get those guys all to mesh quickly is the charge of Coach Beatenbow, but he's up for the task. But that's probably the position that everybody knows, right? That if you follow Oklahoma football, where we lost the most experience on our team, that's the group that we've got to replace.
Bob?
Brent, the tight end room has basically completely changed from last year. Just how happy are you with the depth in adding Sharp and Jake Roberts, and what's the status of Caden?
Yeah, so Caden will be a little bit limited. We're going to work him in and try to be smart about that, and really excited about his potential and ability. And Cade McIntyre, we had another really good out of season, and he's quick, he's athletic, and he's put on some good weight. And then Jake Roberts, again, got great experience, tough, He's a really good football player. Bauer Sharp, I can say the same thing there. You know, he's got a unique story, level of play where he came from, also a high school quarterback. I think the last quarterback that we brought in that we're moving to another position I can remember is, made the all-world team for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he made the move to offensive line, and I think he became the third pick in the draft. But Bauer Sharp has been, you know, really, really good. He's put on probably 10 pounds since he's been here, and then Devon Mitchell, you know, as a freshman that, you know, getting transitioned and learning. So we're really excited about him. He's got great athletic ability and really good size for a reclassified, you know, freshman. It's been a much different group. Stogg did a great job. And Josh Faniel, you know, is back as well, and he's done a really nice job learning how to play tight end. A guy that was a basketball player when he got here, and he's really had a good out of season as well. So expect that group to perform in a much different place than what we were able to do a year ago. And again, Stogg had a great year, and but we had no real depth there at that position, and that's, you know, that's a tough challenge. You got one guy that you feel really consistently can get in the game and, you know, win for you.
Yes.
Brent, wanted to ask you about Jackson Arnold. Obviously, he got the start in the bowl game, but heading into this spring, just for him, where does the focus and growth, you know, need to be for him? You know, getting more acclimated, you know, working with staff and all those things.
Yeah, I mean, the growth has to happen everywhere, and I got a small sample size of where he was a year ago. Some good, some not so good. So having awareness, good self-awareness, taking ownership, and all of it, the things that I need to get better at, and comfortable at leading or decision-making or the timing aspect of it, the mechanics, your footwork, your eyes, trusting the guys around you, all those kind of things. He'll have to get better at all those things. So there's no one particular area that he needs to improve over the other. Certainly in the 2024 season, haven't taken any snaps, but he'll be the first one to tell you he'd go right down that same checklist along with you. So obviously, I feel really good about you know, the type of leader and the type of athlete, the type of quarterback that he's capable of being. But at the end of the day, that's, you know, your real judgment is on the kind of a teammate that he's been, the leader, the worker. He's been fantastic in those areas since he's been here. And he's a bright guy, he has great instincts, and he's very skilled. You know, you gotta become a great college quarterback, so that's what's in front of him right now. But if he's gonna be successful, it's gonna be because everybody around him. It's gonna be because of a really good defense. It's gonna be because of a great complement of players around him, of offensive line, the running backs, receivers, tight ends, all of it.
Okay, we've got 10 more minutes. Brandon?
Coach, the game management portion of college football seems to be just an evolving door over the last few years. And everybody has different ways of doing things, and then you add the 2-minute warning into things. Where do you see that being, I guess, just a different way of holding your timeouts, using your timeouts, all that type of, and how much will that play into just your overall scope of how you manage the game?
Right. Well, if they pass that, you know, that's something that I don't know yet for sure if they're gonna pass that, but it's on the agenda, as well as a lot of other things. But, you know, in many ways, it's the same, and just football generally speaking, how you, there's a real thing called analytics. A lot of people are utilizing those. We look at all of it, you know, taking account of all the information, the education that's out there, and the strategy that's behind all of it. And but we work hard at game management, you know, all throughout the course of the week in preparation, week to week. You might slightly tweak some of your philosophy based on who you're playing and what the matchups are. I think that's a real part, you know, of the game and how you anticipate it going.
Second row, John Hoover.
Yeah, Brent, saw some really good news in Oklahoma today from Julie. Can you give us an update?
Yeah, I mean, whatever it was, several weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, we were able to just get good news, praise Jesus, that, you know, she's cancer-free. And as you know, anybody that's gone through, you know, that journey, it's terrifying. It's you're never real comfortable. So keep everything in perspective, and, but really thankful. We got a great team of doctors and nurses and things of that nature. But she's tough as all get out, and she's been doing great, so appreciate that. Appreciate everybody's prayers as well.
Second row on the right, Mason Young.
Brent, wanted to ask you about two analysts you mentioned at the top, Doug Deacon, Kevin Johns. What drew you to Doug making that special teams hire? And then with Kevin, how much is that extra voice in the room going to help Seth and Joe John going into this first season in the offense?
Yeah, so loved, again, Doug's body of work. He's been committed. He's built something where he's at in lots of different ways. He's kind of earned his way in this profession. So he's got a great journey and great testimony on how he got to where he is. But he's really good. He's passionate about what he does. He's smart, very, again, successful, putting his guys in both scheme and the fundamentals of the game in position to win. He's got a philosophy on special teams from an aggressiveness standpoint that aligns with what we want to be as well in the special teams area. And again, we feel like this will be an opportunity to improve and get better. That's obviously a space that we got to improve. Got to kick the ball with more consistency. Can't turn the ball over. And we got to be more efficient in every part of that. I think the one area that we were pretty good, top 5 in the country, was kickoff. But every other part of our special teams will substantially improve if we make a few more kicks and we don't fumble the ball.
And Kevin Johns, how much do you think?
Yeah, so again, Kevin's been a very successful coach wherever he's been offensively. He's got a depth of experience coaching quarterbacks and offense, runs some great football minds, whether he's with Cliff or Kevin Wilson, certainly Coach Elko at Duke, and Mike Norvell at Memphis. And so always admired him. I've known him, not personally, but known of him, and I've watched his body of work for a number of years. So this was an opportunity where everything aligned, where we could, he's got great relationships with some of our guys on offense, and Coach Latrell in particular has worked with them, as well as Coach Jones at Texas Tech. And so just opportunity for us to go into this season and get better, learn from him, and having his expertise and his experiences will only help us.
Stay on that side, Cliff Brown.
Yeah, Coach, more of a dad question. What was it like watching your daughter play the state tournament?
That was great. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun, I'm probably smiling right now. Daddy proud. She plays her guts out. And she's on a really cool team with some amazing girls. She's found her little niche, and they've made her better. Coach Slackhill has done a fantastic job, as well as the rest of his staff, in developing their team. But they believe, I think, foundationally, and they're tough. And so for me as a dad, I'm just thankful she's in a wonderful environment to learn and grow. And she's one of the younger players, so she's able to learn from some really good girls that are committed to excellence, and they're just good people. So that's what we all want for our kids, to be in a really good circle where the people that are in position of influence, which as a young one, everybody around her is influencing her in all the right ways. They're able to teach her how to do things the right way and bring out the best in her every day. So it's a really healthy, connected environment, and then I love to watch them play. They're inspiring. They have a never say die attitude, and so the things they've been able to do is some of the first times in program history there. So that's pretty cool to witness that, as well.
Next to Cliff, Joe Masato.
Brent, with Casey Thompson, I know you've talked about wanting to bring him here before and known him for a long time. Just to have him come back home, in a sense, after a long college career, just what's that like for you?
It's been fun. I've known the family for a long time, and like every decision I make, I try to find great people. No matter if it's a player, it's a staff member, it's a full-time coach, or it's an analyst, whatever it is, GA. Try to find great people that have a belief system and a value system that aligns. And Casey's just phenomenal. He's got a depth of experience as a quarterback. He epitomizes what you want from a work ethic and a commitment standpoint to his craft and his teammates. He's got wonderful leadership traits that, you know, he's gonna immediately be able to bring some things that maybe that group of guys, as a young group, doesn't already have. They were all able to, or at least Jackson was able to learn, along with General, learn from Dylan, and that was a wonderful opportunity for them. And now this is an opportunity for Casey to, you know, plant some more seeds. And he's been working on getting healthy and those types of things. Won't do a whole lot for the spring. Won't do anything in the team stuff in all likelihood, but brings so much to the table, and just as a, you know, and he's a competitor. He'll want to get out there and have a go at it, and everything has its time from that standpoint, but he's immediately able to bring a veteran presence to that room, and somebody that the younger guys can lean on. Has been a starter several college games, 50 games plus, and has had a lot of success at, you know, at quarterbacking.
And then we'll go to Tom Green and then Colton Sully. Tom?
Brent, you mentioned you guys got the good news with Justin Harrington's waiver this morning. Just how big is it for defense to be bringing him back for additional year? How are him and Andrew coming along with their recovery?
Yeah, they're coming along well, and neither one of them will participate in spring, as you would expect. But it's big, you know. Justin is, again, a highly invested guy. He's talented, can do a lot of different things. So you're always looking for big, long, fast, aggressive, physical guys, and he's those things. And but he understands what commitment is and how we do what we do. So he'll bring, again, the experience from that standpoint, and playmaking from that standpoint. And, getting both those guys back will be huge, and so expect them to be, you know, full go. There's no setbacks when we start up here this summer.
Then Brent, kind of sticking with Andrew, I wanted to ask you about the receiver room. Obviously, a lot of depth there, brought in some experience with Burks and a lot of young talent and freshmen. What have you seen from them since they've arrived on campus?
Well, I've seen the best version of Jalil Farouk, which is what you want. Your best players, so to speak, you always want to be your best workers, your best leaders. And so far through the first, you know, part of you know, the winter and the spring, that's what Jalil's been. And I've seen tremendous growth from several guys. You know, Jaden Gibson is easily at his best. He didn't lose a competition. We put him in there a lot, trying to still expedite the growth of a lot of guys, but I don't think he lost the competition, you know, the entire winter. J.J. Hester is another guy that, again, big, long, strong. I think he might have lost one time, and he's got a different look in his eyes. You know, Brendan Thompson has been fantastic. Nick Anderson, early in particular, he was wonderful. Jaquez Petaway was really good. Gavin Freeman was really good. Deion Burks is, you know, he's as competitive of a player as we have on the team. He's gonna fit in really, really well in that group of guys. They got great chemistry already, but that's been a group that not only do we have numbers, but I mean, we have a group of guys that are committed. And you throw in Zion and Ivan and Jacob Jordan and several other, you know, walk-ons that we have in there, and that's a dang good group of players right there. So really excited about the leadership and excited about the growth and maturity of that group. We lost a great one in Drake from a leadership standpoint, but I love the depth of the buy-in and the ownership and the leadership that we're getting out of that group thus far.
Last question, third row left side, Chris Williams.
Yeah, Coach, when you look at this group of players we're going to meet today, the mid-year guys, in which area do you feel like they have the potential to make the greatest impact this season?
I expect every position on our football team to be impacted. I don't see one position, you know, that is going to have more impact. Maybe more players. Offensive line would have more of an impact if you look at just your players than at quarterback. But you know, Mike Hawkins and his development and Brendan Zerberg and his development are as critical as any part, you know, of our team. You know, their play and their opportunity to take reps. So again, I don't see a position that we don't expect there to be, you know, an impact. And so if we've done a good job recruiting, that's gonna be, that's what we're gonna get out of that group. One thing that I do love about, again, and I said this when I started, just overall, holistically, this is a group of guys, there's 35 new guys that are here right now, that, man, they're competitive and driven, self-starters. When we showed up to the indoor facility for the last 7.5 weeks, man, they showed up prepared. The mindset was really good. We're in a much different place from that standpoint to where we were, whatever it was, 26, 27, months ago when we got here. And so, and they're a big part of that, buying in and recruiting the right guys. So I think it's really a strong reflection on the staff choosing the right guys. That's the hope. You're never going to be perfect. Make some mistakes, misjudge somebody every once in a while, but our staff did a wonderful job of bringing in the right guys. They got the right stuff. Humility, the work ethic, the toughness, the drive, the focus, all those things. And that's what we've seen. You got a young guy like James Nesta. He's all the way from North Carolina. He's participating in both the things that we're doing on football and managing a baseball schedule as a pitcher on the baseball team. And he's just, so I can only imagine what he's going through, learning certainly all the things that we do on football, and then the things that he needs. It's game day every day at baseball right now, this time of the year for them. So, but he hadn't flinched. He hadn't flinched. I'm sure he's probably had some moments off the field, talking to mom or dad, but he's been a stud, since he's been with us. So I'm excited to see, our kickers come in here and help make us better. The competition will bring out the best in everybody is my expectation. So, Tyler Keltner and Liam Evans will have a chance to come in here and make us better that way. Same thing, we'll open it back up, with our punters. And Luke was fantastic the back half of the season, averaged 47 plus yards a punt in the back half of the season. So that's exciting as well. But every position on our football team is going to be impacted by this group of newcomers.
Thank you very much.